What's up, all you samurai assassins out there? Fat Samurai Guy here with Lady Fat Blood, and welcome to another episode of The Movie Dojo, where we discuss martial arts cinema and action films. Ow! Today in the dojo, we are going to review the film Headshot. Now, this is going to be a spoiler-filled review, so if you want to skip spoilers, go ahead and skip ahead to this time right here. Alright, now let's do this. Here's a quick plot synopsis. A mysterious young man washes ashore with a serious head injury. After being nursed back to health by a young doctor, his past comes back to haunt him.
Okay, so several months ago, we were getting messages upon messages upon messages from a lot of you guys out there asking us, please do a reaction for the Headshot trailer. Well, first, we couldn't find one in subtitle form, so we just settled for what there was out there, and so it's like, okay, fine, so we finally do it. Great. Well, we live in the good old US of A, where foreign cinema takes its sweet-ass time making its way over here, so, again, we're not an advocate of illegally streaming films, so we decided, okay, let's just wait. There's bound to be a DVD or a Blu-ray or some kind of rental coming out to us. Eventually we're gonna find this movie. So months and months and months pass, and we finally hear, okay, we're gonna get a limited theatrical release. So we're thinking, okay, we're gonna wait. We're gonna see what theaters are playing it, because when The Raid and when The Raid 2 came out, we got really lucky, and not only did we have show times that were really close by, but they were subtitled. We're thinking, we are not sitting through this shit dubbed. So we're thinking, okay, we're bound to get lucky with this, because The Raid and The Raid 2 are a hit, and we got some people from The Raid films in this one, and so we're like, okay, let's just keep an eye out for it. And nothing. There's nothing. At least 100 miles away was the closest. We are not driving all the way out to some shady-ass theater in Los Angeles just to see this damn film. So we go, okay, plan B. There's gotta be a plan B. So we're thinking, okay, maybe PlayStation Network has it. No luck. And then we finally hear iTunes and Amazon has it for rent. We're like, great. You know, you got Amazon Prime. And I'm thinking, okay, we're gonna rent this bitch. And we finally get to rent it. We finally get to see it. So, after all this time, we finally get to watch it. What did you think of Headshot?
I liked it.
Yeah, me too.
Like, share, subscribe. Like, share, subscribe.
We're kidding! Get back here!
We got you.
Get back here. We're joking.
Now we're gonna give you the good, we're gonna give you the bad, and we're gonna give you the badass. First up, the good.
This movie gives us a very simplistic story, and that's not a bad thing. You know, of course, you're not going to get anything you haven't seen before. What happens is Iko plays this amnesiac who washes ashore. He's in a coma for about 3 months, and with little to no dialogue, we see this young doctor that has taken an interest in him a lot because of the bizarre and mysterious head wound that he has. Now, you could argue that maybe she's only interested because of the shrapnel in his head, but I don't know, and this could be totally me just looking into it more, and that's another thing that this movie kind of, it makes you think of things that it doesn't spoon feed you any answers, but I kind of felt like maybe she was a little lonely, and she kind of took an interest in him because that's just her personality. I don't know, I could just be totally looking further into that than what it actually is. And so she's been sleeping by his bedside every day, and she has the book Moby Dick with her when he wakes up. And she asks him, what is your name? Do you remember anything? And he looks down at the Moby Dick book and he says, my name is Ishmael. I was like, okay, so he knows the book Moby Dick, but he doesn't remember his own past. Hey, who cares? It doesn't matter, okay? It's fine. It's fine.
He was just searching for a name because he couldn't think of one.
Possibly, who knows? Anyway, so you get the amnesiac, and then you get the whole scenario where he's really, you know, he's this good guy. He wants to help, you know, people, the people that have been kind to him. He reciprocates. He strikes up a friendship with the doctor and the guy that pulled him off of the beach and took him to the hospital. You get a friendship with him. The doctor, I believe, is going off to Jakarta to kind of become like a bigger doctor, and they had this really interesting conversation where Ishmael says, you know, what if I'm not the good person that I am right now? Would you still be my friend? And, you know, she's basically looking at him like, dude, of course I am. And what I really enjoyed about these two is their chemistry and their friendship. They have a really interesting bond that you don't really need to get too deep into it. There's nothing overtly romantic about it, which, of course, I always appreciate. And it seemed very genuine between the two of them. So anyway, the doctor goes off and her bus gets hijacked. And basically the short version is the bad guys find out about Ishmael, and the people that were responsible for shooting him in the head in the first place are basically going after him, and there we have our movie. Now, I'm just gonna come right out and say this. I do sincerely feel that in the wrong hands, in the wrong director's hands, in the wrong actor's hands, we would have been given a very bland and possibly borderline very forgettable film. But what I feel the directors and the actors brought to it was their own kind of heart to it. We have not seen any of the Mo Brothers films yet. We own Killers.
Yes.
We've not watched it yet.
We will watch the Killers.
Because we suck like that. But, you know, and again, there's something about Iko's portrayal of Ishmael where you get a lot of instances where they don't come out and tell you everything that you need to know to follow the story. And I found that very interesting, and, you know, get into that in the bad section of the film. Some people might not like that all the information is not spoon-fed to them, but I thought it was interesting that my brain was still able to kind of fill in the gaps whether they were correct or not. It was still kind of interesting that, yeah, you can still totally just follow along with no problems. So aside from the relationship that he has with the man that pulled him from the ocean and the doctor, you find out, of course, that Iko was an assassin at one point, and the big baddie, played by Sunny Pang, you find out that he takes these orphan children, he throws them into a well, and he makes them fight it out to the death, and hey, if you survive, you get to be my minion and my assassin and all that. And this is where I think some people might kind of lose their emotional connection to the film, is that they do try to establish that Iko was friends with these other assassins. You know, one of the assassins even tries to let him go without, you know, chasing after him and killing him. And again, I think it's because of Iko's portrayal of the character, and Iko's just, again, maybe this is just me, he's so damn likable. And there's something very sympathetic about his portrayal of the character that if the film didn't spell it out for you, Iko's portrayal, and I'm not going to take anything away from the different assassins, actors' portrayals, they all bring this emotion to it that even if it's not there on the page, they bring it to you on the screen. At least they did for me. And so that was an interesting kind of, it's like, well, yeah, it's not spelled out for you, but you still kind of get what the film was trying to tell you in the story.
This was a very beautiful looking movie too. I really like the cinematography with this film. And another thing is the really badass kind of 80s retro inspired soundtrack.
Yeah.
I really like the soundtrack. I'm gonna go out and buy the damn soundtrack, man. If I can find it. Damn it, it sucks over here, man. And now for the bad.
So I'm just gonna come right out and say it. Anything that we state as being bad, it's mostly kind of falling into the nitpick category. As
nitpick.
I personally didn't have any problems with the film. Like anything that really stood out and detracted from my enjoyment of the film. Again, we come back to the character motivations. You know, you kind of have to read between the lines. Why does the doctor give a shit about Ishmael so damn much? Why did the gang kill Ishmael?
Yeah.
Why did they betray him and shoot him in the head? Now, my theory was that at one point Ishmael has been detained by the police, and the police are telling Iko about the day that Iko's boss was captured by the police, and it was very mysterious circumstances. They just happened to be told about a point where the boss was going to be by himself in some alleyway eating his lunch, and that's how they were able to apprehend him, because normally he had bodyguards swarming around him and he was untouchable. Now, my thought was that Iko was tired of being an assassin. That's what he had told. That's what he eventually came out and said at one point.
Yeah, he does say that. He said he's tired of killing. He's tired of killing.
Yeah, because he does recover his memory later on in the film. And my theory was that, well, he was tired of it, and so he betrayed the boss and he set him up with the police. And so obviously at the beginning of the film, we see the big boss escaping from prison. And soon after, you know, you get the whole, oh, well, Iko suddenly gets shot in the head and he washes up on shore. So my theory was that Iko betrayed the boss broke out of jail, and then they shot Iko out of, you know, mob law, I guess, whatever you want to call it.
I don't think anybody out there has an issue with this. But for me, like I said, nitpick. Like, this didn't ruin the movie for me, but at first I was a little concerned. And that was the camera work. That was the style of the Mole brothers versus the style of Gareth Evans. And we prefer the style of Gareth Evans, the way he, so far, in terms of how he films fight sequences. But at first, I'll be honest, okay? You know, Fat Samurai Guy is always honest here. At first, I was concerned, okay? When you get to the warehouse battle, with Sonny Pang shows up with his crew, and they kick the shit out of the criminals that's in there that was trying to fuck them over with the deal and all that. As soon as the actor that played Bessie from the Raid 2 films, baseball bat guy, who plays in this movie, basically, you know, he has a police stick. It's great seeing him. But as soon as he starts throwing combinations, the camera's like, whoa, man. And I was just like, oh, no, please. No, damn it. Damn it, don't fuck this up, man. Don't fuck this up.
But it was strange though, wasn't it? Because it was clearly, it was a stylistic choice. Because you could still see this was not an attempt to mask the choreography or the, you know, of any part of the filming. It was a deliberate stylistic choice for the handheld, but it was distracting to say the least.
I was just concerned that every single fight was gonna look like this. Yes. I think the Mole brothers' style, you know, when we finished the movie, I ended up liking their style of filming by the end of the film.
Yeah, it was almost
but
like
in the beginning, I was worried.
It was almost like they had evolved halfway through. And they started to find a little bit more of their own voice and vision. And we might be witnessing an evolution in their filmography and how they film these things.
What I did like that was different from the Gareth Evans style was that when they were doing the handheld stuff, they were getting very creative. Very creative. When Sonny Pang would like up headbutt Iko, the camera would follow his head all the way down as he fell. When Iko would get hit, it would follow him this way. When he jumped through a window, it would follow him outside the window. And I think they were trying to make the fights a little bit more impactful with the handheld style of filming. I think that's what they were trying to do. Luckily, it's all fixed later. Luckily, the fights are filmed a lot better. From the midpoint towards the end, the fights are fine.
Yeah, there was literally...
But at first, I was nervous.
Yeah, there was literally a fight in the forest where it started off as we had been seeing with the shaking. Then all of a sudden, within a whole entire scene, suddenly it was wide, it was steady, and you could see everything. It was like, where Mo Brothers?
Yeah.
Where'd you go, sweetness? But no, it ended up looking much better.
Yeah, and now for the badass. The Mole brothers definitely have a talent. They have an eye. These are very talented directors, and they have an eye for shooting action sequences. It's just, you know, when they get a little bit too ambitious, when they get a little bit too crazy, then it's just like, okay, just you know, take it down a notch.
Yeah.
And when they take it down a notch, they film all of the fight sequences gloriously, okay? Especially by the end of the movie, the end fight between Iko and Sonny Pang, which is my favorite fight in the movie, but so fucking badass, okay? When they show that and you can actually see everything, it's fucking awesome. Quick warning though, if you guys are expecting The Raid and The Raid 2, it's different. Okay, this is a totally different type of movie, this is a totally different type of tone, and this is a totally different way of filming the action compared to the Raid film, so we gotta warn you guys.
Yeah.
If you're expecting the Raid films, or Raid 3 in this movie, it's totally different.
Yeah, which, if you really think about it, why would you want to expect the Raid going into this? I understand, you know,
There are a lot of people are.
You got some of the, you know, you got a couple of cast members from the Raid, especially, you know, the Raid 2 coming in. But at the end of the day, you need variety.
Yeah.
And I think the Mo Brothers gave us that. And I really enjoyed the brutality of the film. You got a lot of, you know, blood. You got a lot of brutal cracks and all that good stuff that, you know, you kind of, I don't want to say come to expect in these Indonesian drama action pieces, but it's nice that it's there.
Oh yeah.
You know,
it better be there, man. Don't be giving it no PG rated martial arts action.
I don't think we ever have to worry about that.
No.
But, yeah.
Gloriously, beautifully violent.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know.
Sweet, sweet violence. But yeah, don't expect the Raid. This is totally different, okay?
Yeah.
If your expectations are that high, you might be a little disappointed. I think you might be a little bit disappointed because it's so different from the Raid films.
Yeah.
We were not disappointed.
No,
okay?
not at all.
But and what's interesting in this film is that the beginning fight sequences up to the middle, they're all like survival style street fighting fights. There's really not a lot of martial arts in there, but it's like literally like, and I kind of liked it because it was different.
Yeah.
It was like, you know what? Fuck you. I'm grabbing this typewriter that's right here. Boom. I don't give a shit. I'm getting this damn keyboard. You know, I'm getting the phone. I'm busting you upside the head. You know, it's just like, hey, yeah. Yeah, I mean, hey, it's fucking realistic in a way, you know? It's like, fuck it, I'm gonna use what's around me to fuck you up. And he gets some really brutal, man, bone-breaking, awesome moments. But then, from the middle on to the end of the film, the third act, it gets more of the martial arts type of fight choreography that we expect, especially from Iko. So that was kind of cool.
Yeah, so overall, we went into this not expecting the raid, wanting something different on its own terms, and that's exactly what we got. Again, this is your average, you know, story that's been told 100 times, given to us by people who clearly cared about what they were doing. They wanted to bring us this story. You've got really good direction, really fantastic choreography, shaky to really good cinematography, depending on which fight you're looking at. All of the actors, every last actor was great. Iko was fantastic as always. Chelsea Islan, I believe, she played the doctor. She was really good. She kind of stood out, especially towards the end. She goes through some shit and she shows it. You know, the Hammer Girl, Julia Estelle, she's always fun to watch. I don't know why. Sunny Pang, I can't pronounce baseball bat
Sunny
guy.
Pang, man.
Yeah, everybody did such a great job. And again, you've got what could have been a low-grade piece of crap that everybody cared, and they brought their A game from the actors up to the directors, and we really enjoyed this one.
Yeah. So we give Headshot 4 out of 5 ninja stars. That's it for today's episode of The Movie Dojo. For those of you who have not seen Headshot, we highly recommend that you guys go out and check it out. It's definitely one of the best action films of the year. But if you have seen Headshot already, let us know in the comments below what you guys thought of it. And as always, thanks again for watching. You guys rock. And stay tuned for our upcoming review of Avenging Force. Until then, we'll see you guys next time.
Share, subscribe. Like, share, subscribe.